Hi guys, it's Chivo Puro, aka Sarah London, and I was asked by someone to show some more of my artworks. So I decided, why not give you guys a bit of an apartment tour, but based on my paintings basically. So I'm not going to show you all the details of my apartment, but I'll show you random things that are on my wall that I've created. So come along for the ride. If you guys haven't already seen these, this is a series of spider webs that I've done. They're like very small, cheap canvases, so like they're kind of hiding behind things. I put sparkles on them. I know it's kind of tacky, but that's kind of how I roll. I like the kitsch craft element in artwork. This here is a drawing actually that I did a couple of years ago. It's kind of like a girl in a dress, and it's based on the idea of a paper doll. So there's tabs that you're supposed to fold, but the ironic thing is that the tabs are actually, or the dress is actually supposed to be three-dimensional, but of course it's not three-dimensional because it's literally on paper. So it's sort of like an idea of playing with the push and pull effect. Now we enter the kitchen, and it's really messy in here, but this is the student life, so you know. Anyway, this is another, you'll see that a lot of themes in my work have to do with textiles. My mom is actually a quilter, and so I'm very influenced by pattern. And here I actually painted a quilt. It's not a real quilt, it's actually paint. So I took some of my favorite fabric and I replicated it in paint. And there are some three-dimensional elements such as buttons and things like that. But these are actual pieces of fabric that I own. But instead of doing a collage, I wanted to actually challenge myself and replicate the flat surface of fabric with acrylic paint. So that's that. Oh, Laugh It Up Fuzzball is a line from Star Wars. Something that Han Solo says. And I did it in sort of faux stitching. This here was in the hallway, but the hallway, as you can see, is pitch black. Well, sort of. It's got Christmas lights, but it's not very good lighting for a painting. This was kind of supposed to be a portrait of my cousin, but didn't really end up looking like her, so it's sort of based on the photo. It's not really her. It's not very realistic either. Not that that's the main objective of art, but as you can see, it's really, really textured. This was actually done in Encaustic, which is painting with wax, which if I had a choice, I would paint everything in Encaustic because it's an amazing medium. But unfortunately, you really need a studio with proper ventilation for that stuff. And it's also pricey, so it's really something that I can't invest in right now. But I do have a family friend who has an Encaustic studio, and I love going over there to paint with her. Here is the living room area, and it's really cluttered, but you can kind of tell artists live here. There's lots of yarn lying around because my roommate is in fiber arts. Here's a really big painting I did in first year. Just experimenting with raw canvas and watering down acrylic to give the effect of watercolor. You can see how it's really got like that raw canvas feel to it, and it's very rough, it's not smooth, and it's got a bit of translucence. And this white stuff here, this is all oil pastel, which resists water base. So, you can see that. And over here, we have another painting that I did in first year. Just some trees, some weird objects up there. I don't know, it was one of those really conventional assignments to paint a landscape, and I really wanted to make it kind of bizarre, like something's out of place, something sort of post-apocalyptic. So I decided I was going to do something kind of strange that kind of reminds you of a world gone wrong, or some kind of ethereal, otherworldly place, not necessarily a negative place, but I don't know, something really bizarre with these alien pod type things, or whatever you want them to be, really. This one's just done on like flat piece of cheap board. It's not canvas. It's based on a photograph of when I traveled to Ireland on the west coast. And this was at, I think, Inishmore, one of the Aran Islands. There's a shipwreck there, and it's really beautiful. So, yeah. All my work is very different. This one is very somber. As you can see up close, the paint strokes here. This one's very graphic novel-y looking. Okay, I'm guaranteed to freak some of you guys out. Are you ready for this? One thing that I do have to say is that there are things that are wrong with this painting, because it was supposed to be like sort of realistic in a sense in terms of representation, and the feet are cut off, and they were supposed to be bent underneath the dress, but they just kind of make her look like she's extra short. But aside from that, it's a really insane painting. It was done for my painting and pop culture class. So it is indeed supposed to be extremely revoltingly tacky. So, you know, keep in mind there's supposed to be a sense of irony here. I did a little bit of research into child pageants, and so this was sort of what I came up with at the time. Yeah, the feet, not looking too good. She looks like a midget. She's actually supposed to be sitting on a cloud. But I never really got around to fixing this painting. It's kind of hard to touch up with all that sparkly stuff on her. But as you can see, yeah, here's the sparkles again. Very, very kitschy. This is a hilarious painting. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites, but it's definitely something that stands out from the rest. So here's a real big one that I did. It's sort of like it can really be anyone, but it is based on a photograph of me when I was a kid, when I was sort of experimenting with face paint. The idea of artifice or play, and that can be anywhere from makeup to, you know, face painting for children, to stage makeup, to anything. There's texture in this one, as you can see. Kind of reminds me of confetti. Has the same sort of theme in terms of the circus or something playful. It's really bizarre, kind of pop culture-y one of some evil My Little Ponies with skeletons riding them. And then there's sort of a little storyline going on here, because the good pony is trying to escape. It's very literal. It's like a very obvious narrative going on. It was for an assignment where you had to make something sort of burlesque or grotesque or carnivalesque. It's a lot of esques. I'm really into the Carnivalesque. I really like that type of stuff. And I was like totally out of ideas, and then my boyfriend was just like slapping some thoughts together and just said, why don't you just do a merry-go-round of My Little Ponies with skeletons riding them? You know, just to be funny, like think of something as ridiculous as possible. And then I thought, you know, why the hell not? I'm obviously very much inspired by popular culture, bright colors, textiles, arts and crafts. If you have any questions and want to know more about my art practice, the way that I look at the world, technical things that I do for painting, just holler back. and I will try to get to you.